So I will present the work I'm currently starting on late fertility, and more particularly I describe late fertility in the low fertility countries. So I first give a definition of late motherhood. For late motherhood, I'm taking, there can be several age limit definitions. There can even be, you could even think about a continuum of age at which women would become late mothers. But there are two usual limits. Age 35 is the beginning of the decline in the ability to conceive, as Francesco was saying earlier. Age 40 is more perceived as a social age deadline for having children, and that can also be a good age limit. So I'm using mostly this age 40 limit. Why would I study late fertility? So there are a range of positive and negative socioeconomic and health, sociodemographic and health consequences to a rise in late fertility. Older parents provide better economic resources to their children and also more stability in terms of partnerships. But on the other hand, there is more risk for the health of the child and of the mother when they are 35 or more, when the child is conceived. And also postponement always entails the risk of not having all or not having at all the children expected. So it can result in involuntary childlessness, again because of this increase in inability to conceive. So for my research question, I consider late childbearing as subject to opposite forces. So there would be the share of late parents inflated by delayed childbearing in the latest period, but there is also a constraint which is due to age-related infertility, and this could prevent the further increase, particularly in late first birth, or it can also result into more childlessness. The late childbearing is also sensitive to family size, and I will show you that later. The questions I'm asking are, did late childbearing spread the same way in all low fertility countries? Then, is the recent rise in late childbearing stalling? So because of this reaching the age where women are less fertile? And are the prevalence of late motherhood and of childlessness related? And how was late fatherhood changing in the meanwhile? So I'm also looking at men. So I'm using mostly the human fertility database, the age-specific fertility rates and age-specific first birth rates. The indicators I will be showing are mostly the contribution of late birth, for instance, at age 40 plus to the TFR, or to the contribution of late first birth to the total first birth rate. Then I have a few other sources that I will give always the sources under the graphs, and I particularly thank Dudel and Klusner for providing me for the data on male age-specific fertility rate. Okay, and as you can see, there are a small number of papers we've been writing with Tomasz on that already, and that I have been writing So, and there's a forthcoming population and societies. Okay, so the trends in late childbearing. So very simply, I'm showing just for four countries, but the longest time series I could find also for first birth rate. So that's the contribution of late childbearing to the total TFR. So it's for all birth orders. And so as you can see, late fertility is nothing new because the contribution of births after age 40 to the TFR was even higher in the past than today. And what I want to show here is that in countries such as the Czech Republic, there has always been rather low prevalence of late fertility, while in some countries like Italy, we were speaking about something earlier, but so in some way there has always been very much late fertility. So, and here, so so the decline here, and then what I call the revival of late fertility. The revival was mostly due to the increase in age at first birth, while the earlier decline was mostly due to the decrease in high order births. So that's the example of the Netherlands, where total fertility rates were very high in the past, and you can see that in fact fourth births were contributed to third and higher births were contributed to the late childbearing for more than 90%, in fact. And while today it's first and second birth that mostly contribute to late fertility. Okay, and so adding just small arrows to what I was showing, so the original decrease is mostly due to family size limitation, and then the recent increase, though there were still changes in family size, can be attributed to postponement. So now I'm showing you the contribution of first birth birth at age 40 plus to first birth. So because I will be speaking about postponement, and so I'm looking at first birth. And so I just want to, so that's the contribution on that y-axis, and as you can see, Italy and Spain always have, also so today, have a high contribution of late fertility, and the eastern countries have rather low contribution, and the western countries are somewhere around 3-5% of first births to women aged 40 plus. And what I wanted to show here, because I was plotting that against the year of onset of postponement, and in fact, so logically it's related to when postponement started. So because of that, I was, when wanting to see whether the increase is continuing, instead of looking at all countries independently, I graphed them against starting at the year of postponement, of the onset of postponement in the country. So that's all the countries, but don't worry, I won't stop here. So, okay, so that's the increase in the share of late births. And you can see that for several years, like for 20 years, it was very, in all countries it was quite similar. And then it started diverging, and you can really recognize some countries like the Netherlands, where the increase in late first birth was very slow, while in countries like Austria, where there were actually very few late births before, there was a huge increase in late childbearing. And then there are also a few exceptions, like the Czech Republic, Estonia, Slovakia. So that's the three countries that were much faster but they started their transition much later and had very, very low initial late fertility. So what I wanted to pinpoint is that here there's absolutely no sign that the increase would be stopping. Actually, it's really booming for the moment in all countries. And then about late childbearing and childlessness. So there's an increasing mismatch between childlessness intentions at older ages and definitive childlessness levels. So I want to show you that graph that I did for Austria. And we see that, in fact, if you take intentions at age 35, 39, they haven't moved much. So intentions to be childless, among childless women. So there are still only 10% of all childless women who actually, no. There are still only 10% of women who are childless and actually do not want a child, while there is an increasing share of women who will actually be childless in that same cohort at the end of their fertile life. So the mismatch between this, stable share of women, let's say, wanting to be childless, and the share who will actually be childless, suggests that there may be actually a constraint due to fertility declining age. And then plotting this late childbearing against childlessness, we see a very clear trend in a very clear correlation between childlessness and the proportion of late births. Even if we separate east of Europe and the rest of Europe, the trends are still the same. So, okay, so that's the outlier is Japan. And now I will just quickly speak about late childbearing by sex. So first I was plotting men age 40 plus, late childbearing of men age 40 plus against late contribution of women age 40 plus, and then I had completely different scales. Because in fact men age 40 plus, they are rather between 10 and 20% who will have their children after age, the contribution of men age 40 plus is rather 10-20%, while for women it's rather 2 to 6%. So it was really not correlated very well. But then, when I started plotting men at age 40 plus, so their contribution against the one of women, I actually had very similar contribution between men and women. So there's really, in all countries, it's really working in all countries like there's a correlation between the age at which men have their children and the age, so the proportion of men who have their children very late and the proportion of women who have their children late. Okay? And then just something quick on the increase. There was an universal increase in late childbearing for men as well as for women, but the increase was much stronger for women than for men. And there were a few countries where the increase was similar, but there were also countries where the increase among women was threefold the one of men. And so this reflects the difference in postponement among men and women, and the difference in educational enrollment, like the difference in spread of education among men and among women. Okay, so to conclude, so the rise in late childbearing does continue. It is actually booming. In most countries, the spread of late entry into parenthood started slowly after the onset of childbearing postponement, but differentiated afterwards. The increase was slower in countries where there are more late births traditionally, and the spread of late fertility is also slower among men than among women. And then I'm asking the question, are we reaching the limits? Well, there are good chances that we are reaching a limit and that involuntary childlessness is pushed up by postponement and transition to further children can be limited as well. So that's to explore further. And so there will also be the related question of assisted reproduction and how it can be used for dealing with this postponement. And thank you very much.